Hey everybody, Mike from the Focus Garage here, coming at you with an episode geared right towards California. You want to kick this one off?
Well, yeah, let's talk about what happened in January 1st, 2019 in California, and what's going to happen throughout the year to older car enthusiasts out there with loud exhaust.
Alright, so California goes, new year, new me, and...
Who that?
And if you don't like that, guess what? You're going to have a problem. So, as of January 1st, they have a new law implemented, which is an exhaust noise ordinance, basically.
Well, it's not a new law. It's like more like how...
The current law changed.
Current law changed in a more restricted, where you don't get a fix-it ticket anymore.
Exactly. So, everybody knows if you modify your vehicle, California is one of the more stricter places to live when it comes to emissions and aftermarket bolt-ons, smog, everything like that. So, people still modify their cars out there, but it's a lot more difficult to get away with certain modifications. With that, one of the most popular mods on cars is a loud exhaust.
Yeah.
If you lived in California, it was very common for you to get a fix-it ticket for a loud exhaust. A police officer could pull you over if your car was excessively loud, and we'll get into what that means in a minute. And they can issue you a fix-it ticket saying, hey, your exhaust is too loud, you're breaking certain noise ordinances, and you have X amount of time to fix it. If you can fix it, we'll drop the ticket. Now, what's going on?
They're no longer doing that. They are giving you a ticket right away, and it's about $1,000. And you still have to fix it, because next day when you get pulled over, you will get a ticket for for $1,000. They're no longer playing around, and there are I think there are certain conditions where your car will get towed till it's just no longer a vehicle.
I think it's X amount of tickets within a certain amount of days. Yeah, they're like, hey, we
impound your vehicle, basically. That's
because it's no longer roadworthy. Yeah. And so what their criteria is for a loud exhaust is 95 decibels or greater from 50 feet away at a constant load.
Constant load, yeah.
So, obviously they do have ways of reading this. There's decibel measures and everything like that. And we are going to do a future video on what this exactly sounds like with a couple of cars, some stock, some, louder exhaust than others, and just show you what that means and what that looks like. But with that, that's exactly the criteria they're going to use to, say whether or not you're committing this violation. So,
and also valves, exhaust valves, and cutouts and all those stuff where you're bypassing your exhaust to create more noise, if it's greater than 95 decibel, is still illegal. You cannot just put a cutout and be like, oh, you look, my exhaust doesn't sound blah blah blah. They're not buying it. You will get a $1,000 ticket.
Now, what's interesting about it is it's going to be one of those things to where anybody that drives a modified vehicle with a loud exhaust, you know that your right foot has a lot of control of how loud your exhaust is and how loud it isn't. Especially if you drive a manual car, you just pop it into a higher gear and cruise along. And with that, it's going to take, I think, some wise driving and wise habits to have people not be as likely to get in trouble as others. But with this, the internet's absolutely going out in complete
having a field day
with this. Like, I've seen you change your gender but you can't change your exhaust. I've seen people
we're not making fun of gender change.
No, we're not commenting on that, but it's just funny the way laws break down like that. And we see people selling their stock exhausts for like $3,500 and things like that from out of state. So, I mean, obviously, living in the age of the internet...
There's an opportunity, there's a person to take advantage of that,
Yeah, so that's funny there, but what this means is, like, Andre and I kind of want to touch on the subject of, like, do you think if people have modified exhaust in modified exhaust in California, are they going to run the risk, or are they going to be scared by this, and right now they're going to go rush to the garage and put their stock exhaust back on? Like, what do you think? How does that affect people that live there with modified
knowing
cars?
California, knowing how strict their carbs and their... their emission system, their smog system is, how they check it. I think people are going to go back and put their stock exhaust because they don't want their cars getting...
It's an expensive ticket, first of all.
And by the way...
This isn't no $50 ticket.
By the way, this is not completely fair because if your vehicle is 60,000 pounds heavier or you have a motorcycle, you are not... you're exception.
This is where it's funny.
So all the Challenger, Charger people are free to do whatever they want.
The straight piped Harley guys,
Yeah, and those things are louder, but I guess they're going after the majority of the problem. I don't know if it's a problem because personally I have a loud car. I have a aftermarket exhaust system in my car, and it's pretty loud, and it's just a personal preference. And it might be affecting other people on the road.
See, I think a lot of it comes down to, and this is obviously one of those things you can't really patrol and you can't really police, is like making noise with your car in a responsible manner. Like, yeah, obviously you get people that drive around private communities at midnight, you know, in first gear, letting it backfire and everything like that. Yeah, that's rude and obnoxious. But like, if you're, you know, cruising on the highway to work and like you do a little third gear pull and it's the middle of the day, it's like, who are you really hurting with a little bit of noise there, you know?
Yeah. Also, it goes into the same thing where a seatbelt. You're hurting yourself. So it's the same thing. You're like,
unless your body flies out the window, then you're a projectile that can hurt other people.
Yeah, you're becoming a missile. But like the other thing is like, you know, when the car is loud inside the car, inside the cabin, you're actually hurting your own hearing.
Giving yourself a headache. You're hurting your own hearing.
Yeah, like you're actually damaging your ear. And that could be that too. Like they're protecting you from yourself.
So one of the difficulties and issues that this brings upon us, though, is people saying, what's next? You know, a lot of people say modifying your cars, you know, an extension of oneself, personalization, customization, yada, yada, yada. So what's to say they're going to say, oh, you know, you can't change the wheels on your car. Or, oh, you know, if you put a spoiler on your car that's X amount big, you know, you can't do that or whatever. Yeah. And it is hard to draw that line in the sand, you know, what's going to be good, what's not. Yeah. And, you know, having watched a lot of, you know, YouTube videos like Matt Farah, Smoking Tire, I mean, you see these guys in California that have extremely modified cars when they're doing these canyon runs. I'm talking like, you know, catless exhaust, straight piped, huge turbo, you know, all kinds of stuff like that. And most of these guys live in California. So it's like they run that risk, obviously. Of getting pulled over. So it's out there, and I think you're going to have a split kind of decision with this where, some people are going to be scared. They don't want to deal with the ticket. They don't want to deal with the headache. And other people are going to run it, and then they're going to complain when they have issues with it. How dare they pull me over?
Another thing is, like, a lot of racetracks have decibel restrictions.
Especially ones that are close to houses and stuff like that.
Yeah, you can't really run a higher decibel. Even, like, the one over here in Illinois, there's one in...
Blackhawk Farms?
No, not the Blackhawk Farms, but down in Joliet.
Joliet Raceway. Or
Audubon.
Yeah.
And you have to have certain decibel, and that Audubon is not as close to the house.
No, I think it's a similar decibel. Yeah. I think it's like between 80 and 90 decibel limit. And I love seeing pictures of cars at racetracks that have these crazy extensions on their exhaust with mufflers and resonators to try and quiet it down.
I mean, 24-hour Lemon, the Chumps or whatever, they have decibel restriction, and they get away with it in a certain way. I won't tell their secrets. But, I mean, there's a lot of way to get away with it. Yeah, and if you modify your car and if you know you have like more horsepower, you do want to get a free-flowing exhaust, and there's no way around it.
I mean, and that's one of those things too. I won't.
If you're living in California,
fall down the snake hole too far. Snake hole, rabbit hole, black hole,
rabbit hole.
Snake hole, I like better. It's one of those things though where each state municipality is going to have different rules as far as what's legal, what's illegal. I know some states are very restrictive as far as window tint. Some states with
Illinois.
depending on where you live. Some states are really bad about like putting HID headlights and non HID housing, stuff like that. So you're going to have these front license plates, all that. It's going to be very nitpicky depending on where you live. So you just accept that risk.
Like, think about that. Maryland, this is like years back when the G8...
came to America.
Yeah. The taillights did not have... reflectors on the taillight. And that's a law in Maryland that you have to have reflectors in your taillight.
Now, the car did meet the U.S. spec regulation, which means you have to have reflectors on the back of the car, and they were in the bumper.
Yeah, and so... This police officer in Maryland, rightfully giving this guy a ticket
because his car is breaking the Maryland law.
Yeah, and then the guy went to court and proving that his car came from the factory like that, and judge was like, "Well, the law is the law. You know, you're breaking the law. That's not my problem."
Yeah, so you have that too. There's a lot of like federal laws, and then state laws obviously supersede that if you live in the state. So you deal with these weird kind of issues where you don't really know how to handle it. And one article that I was reading that's really interesting that pertains to all this is a lot of factory cars nowadays have valved exhaust. You know, where you put the car in sport mode.
RS,
I know a ton of BMWs, stuff like that. So where you put the car in sport mode and there's a flap in the exhaust, it opens up. A lot of aftermarket exhausts do that too. Anyways, cars come from the factory with this, and the article is actually comparing this to Dieselgate, saying how those cars were, emissions compliant under certain standards, and then in other conditions, most of the conditions, they were not emissions compliant. Same thing with these valved exhaust cars, from the factory. If you've got the valve closed, obviously the car's quiet. It's going to be meeting decibel regulations. But if you open that flap up, especially like on GMs, with the LT, LS engines, those flaps, that's loud. I think, I don't know if they're breaking the limit. I think they're like 89 decibels or something like that, so it's close. but it's loud, and people will argue, is that fair? Is that legal? Because it's a workaround. The system is like, you can be quiet when you want, but then other times you still have the ability to break the law. So,
right. I mean, that's what I was saying in the beginning of the video with the valves and cutouts.
Exactly.
If you open your cutout, and they're going to make you open your cutout.
To test it, yeah.
To test it, and if you're under the limit, you're fine. I mean, if you're at 94 decibels...
They can't do anything. There's a line.
Yeah. And that's exactly the same thing with the factory. If your factory is like that, then you have to pull the fuse or disable it, or... I mean, they're going to go back to the factory, GM,
and then there's going to be lawsuits and things like that. Yeah,
I mean, as a consumer, you can sue GM or...
I bought this car, you told me it was compliant, it's not compliant. Yeah.
Because you can't drive your car and you're getting $1,000 fee all the time.
Can you imagine if you have a car that's totally factory, totally stock, it breaks this noise violation, what do you do? Like, you're not going to want to pay this ticket because you just bought a car that was sold to you as fully legal, It's a very
And I want to go back into, like... I don't really know the history of this law, but did it change? Like, in 2005...
The volume limits, or...
Yeah, was it 2005?
Was it quieter? Was it louder?
Was it like a 75 feet? Same decibel, but was it like 75, 80 feet? Because when the sound wave travels, it gets like...
It changes.
Yeah. So you get quieter. But did that change, If that changed, what are you going to do with your 2005 whatever car that it's factory, but it's breaking the law? That's why I'm saying it's such a weird law and such a weird way to
very
control
specific,
this,
but a weird way to control it. Yeah.
I mean, I understand what they're doing. They're trying to keep everybody happy, but you can't do that.
Exactly, it's gonna make a lot of people mad. And one last thing I want to cover with this, just because it's interesting to me, is like, what do you think prompted this? Do you think there was enough outcry from people that loud exhausts are, hurtful and they're annoying me, or do you think they gave out enough fix-it tickets where they realized, hey, we could really capitalize by making people have to cash in on this? I wonder what pushed this from turning into a fix-it ticket to an on-spot violation.
I have a theory that California, this could be true or not. California had a lot of street racing.
There's big car culture out there.
Huge car culture, and I'm kind of jealous.
It might be probably the biggest in the nation.
Illinois. Could be, yeah. But I think Georgia might have another one. But anyway, California has a huge influence on like every other car enthusiast out in the U.S. And there's a lot of street racing. There's a lot of canyon runs and all that stuff. Beautiful roads. I mean, I don't blame you. And they can't really crack down on that. So the way they're doing it is like, they're thinking, if your car is modified,
you're probably doing all these illegal activities already.
Yeah. So I'm going to get you this way instead of that way.
So since I can't pull you over street racing, I can't pull you over doing these canyon runs, I'm going to get you because you got a lot of exhaust.
Yeah, that's a BS over there. But I'm sorry, guys. You guys have to go through with this. And I know you guys don't even have the good gas 93 octane over there either.
That's true.
It's horrible.
And that's actually one of the few places I think where gas is even more expensive than here in California. Yeah, you get... What was it, 89 or 91? They get 91, right? And it's more expensive than our 93 over here, so
oh, man. And
I'm sorry about that.
You have to go through smog all the time and car. And you guys are doing your, good deed for the environment.
Oh, yeah, they're very strict on emissions over there with catalysts and things like that. I mean, off-road only, right?
There's a lot of, there's a lot of places in the world where they're restricting to... You can't even touch anything in the car.
Nope, you can't alter factory spec at all.
At all, and you will get a ticket and get impounded. Yeah, I believe in Australia you cannot have a blow-off valve that vents atmosphere.
They say it's emissions. Yeah, there's pollutants in it, everything like that. So. I do want to open this up to the comments a little bit. Do you live in California, and are you affected by this? If you live in California and you've got a car where you're not going to comply.
What is your plan of action?
Yep,
are you gonna just say F it? I'm gonna keep it the way it is. I'll deal with the tickets, or I have a secret way. Don't share the secret way with us.
Keep yourself up. I don't want to be held responsible for that.
Keep it to yourself, but what's your plan of action? I would like to hear, because I think. When the California does it, it is going to affect other states too, because
you're going to get the trickle effect. I think people are going to see what
the other benefit of they're getting this revenue.
Yep. A whole new revenue stream.
Illinois is a broke state, and they're looking anywhere to find money.
And they're trying to tax us per mile driven in this state, so that'll be fun. But no, funny enough with this kind of law and the exhaust violation is I've been doing some research prior to making this video, and I keep finding all these people talking about, oh, how it's BS, how it's unfair, but I'm not seeing many first-hand accounts from, I live in California and I'm going to do this, this, this. It's people that live in other states and they're just criticizing the law.
Yeah.
I'd really love to see people that live in California, what do you actually think about it? And furthermore, what are you going to do about it, you know?
Yeah. And, I mean, if you race your car and you have a dump or something like that, I wonder if the police officer is going to, like, you know, push you to open that even though you didn't use it.
Exactly. Like, what if you have a cutout? Can you, like, kind of argue, like, I don't have a cutout, or it doesn't work, I can't open it. Like, you're going to have a lot of that, you know? So it'll be interesting to see. It really will. And I'm sure it's going to cause a lot of headache for a lot of people.
On a good news in Illinois, they're enforcing the left lane law.
Oh, yeah. No more camping in the left lane. Thank you.
I don't think it's going to work, but whatever.
They made an article about it, though, so I don't know.
Right. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to share this video and comment. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so and push bell button.
Get those notifications.
Yeah, we love making videos. We love talking to you guys.
And if you have suggestions, let us know. You know, we do a lot of our videos come from viewer suggestions. So if there's a hot topic in the automotive world, or you want us to explain something further, let us know.
Yeah, and if you can communicate with us through Facebook at Focus Garage or Instagram, we're pretty good at messaging back to you guys. Yeah. Mike never sleeps, so he comments back and message back.
Team no sleep.
Team no sleep. Hashtag never been slept.
All right, that's gonna do it for this one.
Kudos.
We'll catch you guys in the next one.